Welcome to another Sunday night cooking class. Just a word of warning here, I will be doing some heavy-duty cultural appropriation, so if you find that makes you uncomfortable or gets your gitch in a knot, then I would suggest you turn away now. If not, then welcome to Build a Dal Workshop. Today we're going to be making dal. It's really just lentils, and you cook them up in with some spices, and that's all it is. It's so simple, and what you get out of it is just amazing. So let's get started with this. I've got some brown and red. I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you. We've got brown and red lentils. I think I put half a cup of red and a cup of brown lentils, and I just let them soak for, half an hour, whatever you got. Doesn't really matter. You can just cook them down, but if you soak them, it gives them a little head start. So that's that. We'll rinse those, and they'll be ready to go. Now, we're going to chop up some onion, and I'm going to add some spinach later. And the rest of the flavor comes from a few simple spices that you probably have around. So let's chop this up and get the dal cooking. Now this recipe, well, most dals will call for ginger and garlic, and this is pretty handy. It's just equal parts ginger and garlic. Peeled ginger and peeled garlic, and then you just put it in a blender and blitz the crap out of it with some water. Turns into a nice fragrant paste, and you can just put that in your fridge, keep it around, and it stays good for quite a while, and you can use it for these kind of things. It's damn handy and adds a lot of flavor to things. So that's ginger garlic paste. Make some. Now the other nice thing about dal is that you can add different things to it. You can mix it up with some carrot or cauliflower I've seen. I'm going to put spinach in today. You can just add a few things just to give it a little extra boost. I have often put a can of diced tomatoes in order to kind of increase the acidity and boost the flavor a bit of the spices, but I'm going to wait until it's closer to being done before I decide whether I want to do that, because it's not always the thing you want. And with the spinach, I haven't done the spinach-tomato combination, so we'll just kind of see if it's going to tolerate it or not. Okay, on with the show. Alright, canola oil, and I would say about 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, about 3 tablespoons of canola oil in there. And you want to get that a little bit hot. And when, let's just see here, let's just give it a second to heat up. Alright, so when that's hot, take a good heaping teaspoon of cumin seeds and sprinkle those into the oil. Now they're gonna bubble and pop. Just give them a second, and you'll be able to smell that right away. Delicious. And then add some onions. So right away you're going to know that this is going to be good, just by the way this smells, so crazy. Sprinkle of salt here is alright. Help to cook those onions down a bit. You're going to want a medium-high heat here. You don't want to cook these too quickly, because we want to kind of bring out some of the sweetness in it. So we're just going to let them kind of go translucent and a little bit brown before we start adding some other things. At this point your house smells ridiculously amazing, or your kitchen does anyway, and you've basically done dick all so far, so it's a good sign. We're going to put in a nice heaping tablespoon of that ginger garlic paste, and a teaspoon of turmeric, and then just cook that ginger garlic paste down, because it has kind of a raw funky flavor at the beginning, so you just want to make sure that that's cooked off before you add anything else. Alright, I'm going to add a sprinkle of chili flakes to this. You could add fresh chili if you wanted. That would be quite nice. Just a little heat, really helps. And I'm also going to put in a good heaping tablespoon of coriander. And then just stir that into the mix. And just take 30 seconds or so with that in there. If you have a kettle, heat up about 4 cups of water. Then you don't have to wait for this to heat up. Otherwise, you know, just put in 4 cups and wait for it to go. And then I like to keep some hot water on hand, because as this cooks down, we're just going to judge how much water we need to add. So, you know, if we probably will need to add more at some point. So if you have some hot water handy, that's good. Alright, so we're just going to bring that up to a simmer, and we're going to turn down the heat at that point and just let it cook away. Stir occasionally. It doesn't really need much. You can pretty much ignore it. And once it starts to break down, we'll taste it and see what it needs. It's only been about 15 minutes maybe, and you can see that most of the water is gone now. We're down to kind of a little bit of a slurry. So it's time to add more, because it's going to take quite a bit of time. And the more time you give this, the better it's going to taste, so don't rush it. Alright, it's been about a half an hour now. We're still cooking this down. So if you look closely, you can see that we still have little bits of red lentil that are intact. We don't want any of that. That all has to go away. So we're going to be just left with the brown lentils. They have more rigidity to them. They can stand the assaults of the water more than the red lentils. The red lentils are going to make it really nice and creamy, and then the brown lentils are going to give it some, you know, heft. Alright, at this juncture, I think I'm also going to put my spinach in. It's pretty hardy, so I don't think we have any problems with it going in too early. Plus, I'm getting sick of that muddy brown color, or yellow-brown color, and this is looking much nicer. Now, the question of the tomato, I haven't still decided yet. We just kind of want to get that spinach in there and see what happens to the flavor after that. So we just let that keep cooking. Alright, we ain't there yet, but after having a little taste, I can tell that it's going to need some salt. So we're going to do that now so that we can have a better estimation of what we need to do later. So I don't know what I'm putting, a couple teaspoons of salt in there right now. And another quick little taste. Okay, that's better, but not there. It's not quite there yet. I think we'll, I'm feeling like we're going to need to add that tomato just to bring the acidity up. We could also try lemon, but you know, there's something nice about the tomato. So let's just keep cooking it down. Alright, I think we're about 40 minutes in it, and I have opted to go for the tomato. So we're going to put that in and allow that to cook along with everything else. And you gotta, there's something about that change of color that really makes it more appetizing, I gotta say. So, I don't know. I don't think, you don't necessarily need it, but in a lot of cases that it really helps, I think. So, we'll cook that down and give that a taste in a little bit. Okay, I'm also feeling like I don't quite have enough flavor in there from the spices, so I'm going to add some ground cumin. And yeah, that should be enough, I think. And another, I probably should have had 2 tablespoons of coriander, I think. So we'll just add that now before it's too far along in the game. Alright, we are about an hour here, and the red lentils are gone. All we're left with is the the brown. Now the taste is good, but I think it needs a little bit more acidity. So I'm going to squeeze a lime in there, half of a lime rather, and see how that changes it. Okay, that's good. Now, it's still a little liquidy. I think it should evaporate off a bit, so we're just going to let it cook for maybe another 10 minutes or before we serve this up. So that's about done there. You should end up with something that's like a creamy, thick soup. In fact, the dal, if you just water it down, is basically lentil soup. They're kind of interchangeable. But, and then you're just going to put that on rice, or you could have it with roti or naan or something, but rice is really nice with it. It's very mild. This is quite mild. You can certainly spice it up at the beginning with chilies or chili powder or whatever you want, basically. Well, on a nice bed of rice, this stuff is insanely delicious. I don't know how to convey that to you. It is a little bit addictive. There's something about dal, I don't know. Every time I make it, I am just astonished at how amazing it tastes. So there's really not a whole lot of spices in this. It just has this flavor to it that just is out of this world. Anyway, I highly suggest you try this. It is very, very good. There's lots of different ways to make it and lots of different ways to change the taste of it. So hopefully you found this interesting. Thanks for watching. Cheers.